For decades, the towering pillars of Göbekli Tepe have defied explanation. Built nearly 12,000 years ago, the site was neither a temple, nor a village, nor a burial ground. Archaeologists searched each chamber for answers, overlooking the crucial pattern that recent discoveries have finally brought to light. This is not just another ancient puzzle. It is evidence that challenges the very story of how civilization began. And if the truth was hidden in plain sight for so long, what else might we have missed? In 1995, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt stood among the rolling hills 15 kilometers northeast of Şanlıurfa, Turkey, convinced he had found something that did not fit any known model. Massive T-shaped limestone pillars, some rising over 6 meters high and weighing up to 10 tons, emerged from the earth in circular arrangements. Beneath layers of soil lay the world's oldest known monumental architecture, built more than 11,000 years ago. As Schmidt and his small team began excavating, a troubling paradox appeared. There were no hearths, no houses, and no burials to suggest a settlement or cemetery. Scattered animal bones and the absence of everyday tools led early researchers to label Göbekli Tepe the world's first temple. For nearly 2 decades, this assumption guided every excavation. From 1995 until his death in 2014, Schmidt's campaign focused on exposing each enclosure individually. The work was careful but narrow in scope. Archaeologists documented pillar layouts, measured dimensions, and cataloged the carved animals, foxes, vultures, scorpions, that wrapped around the stone surfaces. Paired pillars stood at the center of each ring. Others lined the edges, yet their purpose remained unclear. Despite the scale of construction, the site offered none of the usual signs of habitation. With every new enclosure uncovered, the mystery only deepened. Why would hunter-gatherers expend such effort on a structure so monumental, only to abandon it?
By studying each pit in isolation, researchers remained focused on details within individual enclosures, missing the possibility that meaning lay in the relationships between them. By the early 2000s, the temple theory had reached an impasse. It could not explain the repeated architectural patterns or the immense labor required to carve and move the stones. Similarities between rings were noted, but never fully connected. The site's true purpose remained elusive, and the limits of this approach became increasingly clear. That perspective finally shifted in the summer of 2025, when a new team led by Professor Barbara Horace arrived with a different strategy. Instead of examining individual enclosures, they mapped Göbekli Tepe as a single interconnected system. Using ground-penetrating radar, the team scanned beneath the surface, layer by layer, until a complete digital map emerged. What appeared was not a collection of isolated circles, but a precise geometric design previously invisible to pit-by-pit excavation. 3 of the largest enclosures, B, C, and D, formed the vertices of an almost perfect equilateral triangle. The distance between their centers measured 19.25 meters, with an error margin of less than 30 centimeters. This level of precision could not be accidental. The triangle's sides aligned with remarkable accuracy, and each enclosure followed a shared orientation.
So the Romans and beyond has laid claim to this area. It's one of these places in the ancient world.
The central pillars of enclosures B and C ran parallel to the triangle's southern edge, while enclosure D, taller and more imposing, anchored the apex. Several pillars pointed north with a consistent 10-degree offset, suggesting deliberate design rather than chance. For Horace and her team, the implication was clear. The builders worked from a master plan. The idea that hunter-gatherers, without metal tools or writing, could execute such geometry overturned long-held assumptions. Repeated measurements, careful alignments, and symmetry across enclosures pointed to shared rules and coordinated construction passed down through generations. For the first time, the logic of the site became visible. Geometry here was not decoration, it was organization. This raised a new question. If the layout followed strict rules, what else at Göbekli Tepe might be part of a larger code? Animal carvings, long thought to be symbolic or decorative, began to reveal their own patterns. Dr. Lena Yilmaz, a specialist in prehistoric symbolism, cataloged the motifs and their positions across the site. Her team found consistent rules governing which animals appeared where. Vultures were carved near the tops of pillars facing east, aligned with sunrise at key times of year. Scorpions appeared low on southern faces, often paired with wild cattle or fox symbols. These placements were unlikely to be random. Instead, they may have marked ritual timing tied to seasonal cycles or celestial events. One of the most striking discoveries came from laboratory analysis of a carved human figure found between enclosures B and D. Unlike the animal reliefs, the figure lay horizontally, its shell-inlaid eyes gazing upward. Wear patterns suggest it was handled and displayed before being sealed away, possibly as an offering. Researchers believe it may have played a role in ceremonies that coordinated gatherings of different groups. The repeated animal symbols, always in the same positions, suggest a shared visual language. Vultures at dawn, scorpions during hunting seasons, the shell-eyed figure as a focal point of ritual. These carvings now read less like decoration and more like messages, reminders of when to gather, what to honor, and how to maintain social rhythm without written language. The final chapter of Göbekli Tepe was not abandonment, but deliberate closure. Archaeologists found that the enclosures were intentionally filled with fine limestone rubble mixed with charcoal, sealing the monuments beneath massive layers of stone. The infill was uniform, showing no signs of gradual collapse or natural silting. Microscopic analysis confirmed that clean quarry debris was dumped rapidly, with no evidence of habitation between layers. Radiocarbon dating places this effort around 9500 BC, suggesting a coordinated act carried out over months, not centuries.
To bury a single enclosure required moving more than 1,200 tons of stone, an effort demanding hundreds of people working together. Across the entire site, the labor rivals that of much later agricultural societies. Yet Göbekli Tepe shows no signs of farming or domesticated animals. This was a community bound not by crops, but by shared vision, memory, and purpose. Göbekli Tepe is not alone. At Karahan Tepe, just 35 kilometers away, similar enclosures share orientations and evidence of intentional burial. The pattern repeats across the region, pointing to a network of communities connected by common beliefs and coordinated action. Sealing these monuments was not an act of collapse, but of intention, a conscious decision to close a chapter. This reshapes our understanding of civilization itself, showing that large-scale organization and cooperation existed long before agriculture or cities. Today, Göbekli Tepe forces us to rethink our origins, revealing that shared knowledge and planning predate the first urban centers by thousands of years. As new sites continue to emerge, our past looks less accidental and more deliberate. The real secret is not buried in stone. It lies in how we choose to understand ourselves now. What do you think? Subscribe to stay in the loop.